into it in the 80s and 90s, we were able to span the boundaries, and inventory was good. I was able to help low-income single mothers and children to get their houses, and we had a very good success. But as the years went on, inventory started drying out. And to me, the city did not go the right direction in getting our inventory up. And as you see, rental, if you read the story today about companies are coming in buying rental properties. But if you all want to know the truth, in 1999, I told everybody that, ask people, what do we rank for homeownership in Kentucky? What county? I mean, out of 120 counties, what would we rank for homeownership? And everybody was saying 4, 5, 6, because we were 119 in homeownership. We're a rental city. And that's what caused a lot of these developers from all the counties coming and buying these apartments up, because we have been told population's gonna go up to 50,000 possibly in the next 20 years. They're taking control of the market. As you all know, the horror stories we're hearing on the rental, how much is going up. Homeless numbers have gone way up. The last 2 days I've been following it. We've had mothers who are pregnant, homeless. We were able to get her in a hotel. We thought we were only gonna need 85 hotels. We need 180. During the pandemic last year, we booked 90, and we only used about 80 of them. Right now, the numbers are really scary with the homeless population. So housing is a very crucial problem right now, and that's why been working with a lot of nonprofits who are a lot smarter than me, who know how to deal with the low income, especially the mental issues. An example I'm going to give you, and then I get back to the question.
No, please do.
There was a hotel out here on the interstate. It was empty. I worked with 5 nonprofits. They wanted us to get this hotel and take it over and take homeless people up there so they would be able to help them with their mental issue. They would be able to work with them on jobs. A lot of these people just need jobs. But they don't have the connection to get the job. That's the problem with these nonprofits. They just can't come downtown and say, you need a job. But if you put them in one area, we're able to scatter them out and be able to help. And also some need rental. And so I had the program. We had the restaurant. The old restaurant was going to be where they were going to get their food. We were going to be on food stamps. There was 145 units, and we were going to transition them out every 3 months. We applied for the grant, we lost by a couple points. To me, that is one way how it works. If you gotta put them in one area, and these nonprofits are willing to come, and they've got the money to do it, and the more we put them in the area, they're able to work with these people a lot better, but being scattered out is hard on them. So I just tell you some examples of what I've been thinking out of the box, how we gotta fix this problem.
Thank you, Councilmember. So I want to open the floor to your all's questions, and I will share a couple of things. One is a disclosure, which is that I do sit on the city's Affordable Housing Fund committee, and but I am here to facilitate, not advocate tonight. But I just want to make that known. And the second, excuse me, second is that I'll share some wisdom that was once shared with me, which is that a question has 2 qualities. It is short and it ends in a question mark. So, so with that, is there anybody who would like? Anybody have a question they'd like to answer?
I'd like to know Councilmember Maloney's opinion about the performance of the Affordable Housing Trust Fund since its inception.
See, when I worked with Kentucky Housing, I did tax credits, and I enjoyed it. It was for helping people with low income that needed to be renters. I came to Lexington and became worked with community division and first-time home buyers. Then I went to be the president of Reach. I enjoy first-time home buyers. To me, it's nothing more exciting watching a single mother with a child going into a house and picking their own bed and getting their rent cheaper than what they were paying. I mean, pay their house payment cheaper than what they're paying rent, and they own these homes. When you look at the affordable housing, we've spent a lot of time doing these big tax credit projects, which is okay, which is good. I did tax credits, but we got the vacant lot program where we had the justification out there in these neighborhoods where there's a lot of property that had liens against them, where the city put liens against them, and the landlords will go in there and scare the owners and say, you owe $30,000, we'll buy your house for $40,000, we'll take care of the loan and all that. But they will end up taking the money, building the house themselves, either rent it for some ridiculous price or sell it. To me, the city should have the first option on owning those properties. When there's a lien, we should take it over. We got 4 great nonprofits, the Urban League, Reach, Community Ventures, and Community Action. They can put homeowners into those lots, and that would revitalize those neighborhoods. It may take a while, but let me tell you something. If I get one person in there, I'm tickled to death, and I know I could do more than one. There are no, and when they find out they can pay for a house a lot cheaper than what they're paying rent, and the thing that bothers me, we had all those low interest rates for the last 10 years. Can you imagine if they had a 2% interest rate and we could have built our houses for $100,000, $120,000, what that payment would have been? We fell behind that, and that's the vacant lot we had a chance, and that's what I'm pushing for. I do support the affordable, but we need to balance it into home ownership and also into rental.
Yes, ma'am.
So where are we now as far as we were 119th back in, you said 99?
We're probably 220.
Or like a
We're
120?
way back. If you talk to at home, it's amazing. I thought we would, I mean,
You would think we would be up there.
we're way for home ownership.
Is it because of the students? I mean, is the student population kind of accounted for? Because we do have to have a lot of rentals in this town for students. Is that accounted for? Like,
The students.
are the
Student,
students?
but it includes students, but it also includes a lot of rental property. It's people that just, they don't have a chance to buy the land, to buy houses.
Right.
And that's the problem there, but yeah, it was back, I was with the home builders, cause I was working for Reach. And they came to me and did a presentation, and they showed the chart that we were, I was shocked, and I told everybody that. And we have not moved. If anything, we've probably gone down, because as you can see, we have not expanded.
Well, then, and how are we allowing investors to come into the city and like snatch up all our affordable housing? It's very frustrating to me that these investors from the coast are coming in, because I have a friend from California who came to Kentucky and she was gonna be basically a landlord, and she had bought an apartment building super cheap, but she lived in California. She didn't live here. Why did we let that happen?
Well, Village Drive, they bought off. It goes back to the statement that we're gonna be 40,000 people in this. They're looking that we're not a housing. They're looking at those numbers that so they're going in and saying, well, I'm gonna buy it, since the inventory is not there. If the inventory was up, I guarantee these people wouldn't have been buying these houses. I mean, these properties. Because there's more places where inventory is bad, and they're paying it and getting a hold of the money. And the horror stories that you're hearing now, what people have to pay, especially low income people, it's scary. And to me, that's what we have to do to change that.
So, Councilmember, do you want to clarify a little bit, just for, when you talk about inventory, what does it mean?
Inventory means we have to get land, build houses or apartment complex to make sure, for instance, and I'm gonna give you an example, the interstate, and everybody knows I support, we need to build on the interstate. Got more traffic flowing, we're gonna be the heart and soul of Eastern Kentucky with those 2 hospitals being built out there. It's not because of us, it's because of Eastern Kentucky, and you got nurses that are traveling 3 hours a day to get to work. Now they're only traveling 2.5 because they don't have to go through town when they're being built. But so we have to build out there.
But the
and
rents out there right now are currently horrendous. I mean, so how are we gonna get like affordable?
to what now?
How are we gonna get affordable
Well,
housing? on
well, I know you got a bunch of vacant lots on the interstate. You buy, what you do is, let's say we have 1,000 acres. You tell the developer, out of that 900, you can do whatever you wanna do with it. I don't care, make all the money you want, but that 10% would be 100 acres, will be for low income housing only, which will become a land trust, which means there will always be low income housing in that block there for the jobs they can go to, or if you're coming from wherever, but at least to become affordable, and that we the city, make it affordable.
Well,
And it-
that is in place, is what you're saying. That's what you want in place, or that is what is in place?
To do what now?
Is that what you want in place, or is that in place?
No, it's not in place.
Okay, gotcha.
So I just wanna, it's amazing how quickly this time moves, right? So we got about 5 minutes left in this session. I see a couple of hands over here that we haven't heard from yet, so I'll start with you.
I just wanted to know your opinion about the importance of infilling versus expanding the service boundary in terms of some of these issues.
I mean, I'm for it. Problem is, when I voted for a lot of things, but I get chewed out because they don't want it in their backyard. As you know, the neighbor don't want this kind of development in their backyard. But if we're not gonna expand, you got to vote what the planning commission recommend. We building up, and we tried that. The neighborhood comes in, and then I'm gonna be honest with you. You get 10 to 15 people in that council chambers, and they're against it. Those council members will start going against the planning commission and vote against it, and we're sitting there with a vacant lot that did not go. So if it was to sending the message to us that we want infill in development, but we don't want it in our house. So I've said, if we're not gonna do that, then we need to look at the interstate where there's already sewer hooked up to it, where the traffic flows, and we need to help. But to me, I support the infill, and I've always voted for it. Now, the one thing that I didn't vote for, and I'm gonna give you an example, for Sales Road. I represented that district for many years. We had a 24 unit apartment on Delmont. We had a 24 unit across the street on Sales Road. They tore them down to put gas stations there. Now, why the heck do you need gas stations? When you got these many units and you got a shortfall, that's the kind of development that I did not support. We've got too many gas stations right now for Sales Road, but when you start taking affordable housing and tearing them down just where you can have a gas station, those are the kind of developments I will be against. But as long as we're building affordable housing in the infield, I'm for it. It's just the question, is it affordable? That's the problem.
You mentioned the need for housing to be affordable for renters, and there's nothing in Lexington that says landlords have to accept a certain kind of income, so housing choice vouchers. Can you tell us your opinion
we're
or
looking at-
thoughts on a tenant's bill of rights?
Yeah.
And so that we can guarantee that our lowest income neighbors can afford to live in Lexington, because being a renter is not a bad thing, because home ownership is not always attainable at this very moment for a lot of folks that still need a place to live but are going to have to be a renter.
I agree, and I was the one to put the tenant rights bill in the committee. I worked with Section 8. I was the first my organization, I was the first one to make Section 8 in the homeowners. We took their vouchers and made them in the homeowners. And when I left, they quit doing it. Now Louisville just did 100. Why we didn't continue that, I don't understand it. We've got a lot of properties where landlords were willing to sell them, but we just never did it. We have to get back to that. But I support what you're saying. We've got to have places for folks, families, especially families. And you're talking 4 bedrooms, and that's the real problem, is you can't find 4-bedroom apartments now. And if you do, they're wanting 25, especially when these companies come in, they're paying $2,500, they're going for the market rate. And when the Section 8 vouchers only goes up to $19 or $2,000, they're still short. We've got to find out how to fix that problem. Either we have to subsidize it or something to make those things happen. I agree with you, that's a major problem, and I support any way we can do it.
I think we can squeeze in 2 more questions over here.
So in order to do what you're talking, to have developments with the, part of it has to be affordable housing. To do that, we're gonna have to expand the urban service area.
And that's what the council's beating on
And
now.
can we incentivize enough to get developers to do this? Because a lot of people, it's the, I don't want it in my backyard thing. But, that's a big question. Can we get the urban service area expanded?
I think so.
And I don't think anybody wants to lose a horse farm. There's a lot of land out there that is not a horse farm.
But I think what I've been preaching it for about 5 years. The council has been meeting, the subcommittee, the vice mayor, and James Brown, and also Amanda Blessed. they have used my idea of what I'm talking about, and I think they're gonna come back with the proposal that we have to go that direction on the interstate. Where there's sewer, that's what they're looking at. We're not gonna mess with any horse farms, and if you know, and I don't mean to say that, if you drive down the interstate, you don't see any horses back up to the interstate because of the noise, so. And to me, that's where I think it's happening, and hopefully we can get something here either in the next 2 or 3 months. But they're finally starting to see the light that we still got to do infield. We gotta be smart with it and the mentality with the neighborhood. I mean,
I'll tell you what, let's get one last question in real quick, and then we'll wrap it up here.
Yeah, so I'm a graduate student at UK, and so I just wanted to know if there's been any efforts to make sure that housing is affordable for students as well. Obviously, it's important for families to have affordable housing.
yeah, and I think if we tried to deal with this 20 years ago, like the Bill of Rights, we got hit by landlords like you wouldn't believe, but we were just dealing with student housing. Now we have low-income families, so it's a whole different animal, and I think we passed this. It's gonna affect not just low-income, but it also affects you guys. So it's a good thing if we can get this thing passed. Now just be prepared. You're gonna have every landlord come down here that's gonna cry about that, but as I see how these low-income people are being living, I saw what you all were living through, and I supported Dr. Stevens, but they finally pulled out because of the overwhelmed by the landlords. But to me, when it comes to the low-income single families and mothers or low-income fathers, we have got to fix this problem.
I think that is our time, so thank you very much.
Thank you.
If you had a question that didn't get answered,